We interrupt this story time to bring you a very important announcement.
Breaking news in the Baldwin community. Evidence of fairies have been found in gardens across our neighborhood. We'll take you live to Miss Becky, who's on the scene.
Hi, Angela. I'm Miss Becky, and I am the caretaker of a community butterfly garden here in Baldwin. And today, when I was doing my normal rounds, checking for pollinators, see if we have any caterpillars or any butterfly eggs, I noticed some very interesting inhabitants to our garden that I have not noticed before. So I'm so glad you could come out here today and we could share these discoveries with everyone in the Baldwin community, and maybe they have some other clues as to what could be going on here. So let me take you for a closer look at what we're finding today. I first suspected something unusual was going on when I looked down and saw what seemed to be footpaths on the ground. So I came down and investigated further, because sometimes in nature you really have to get a closer look to see what's going on. So I noticed there was a path going through an archway. When we followed the archway, it came to a beautiful little house, complete with a broom for keeping things tidy. From there, I noticed the path split, and we followed it here. We could go through the plants. Imagine being a small creature walking along here. And we came to a little garden area, maybe a bench for sitting and watching the animals. How cute. When I followed the path the other direction, I came to another shelter, possibly a tent for relaxing. It seemed to be made of leaves and maybe some plant fibers holding it all together with twigs. What a cozy little place, and under the shelter of our trees, our plants for our pollinator garden. And following the path further, I discovered yet another house. Look at these tiny little steps that go up to this house. And then my most magical surprise was in an unmarked area, which seemed to be a little grove for maybe eating a lunch. All ready with bowls and stools, just awaiting magical guests. We'd love to learn more about what's going on in this garden. Our next step is we're going to try to call our local library to see if they could help us get any references on any maybe fairy-like creatures that could be making houses in these gardens. As always, a good place to find information is your local library. So I'm going to give them a call right now. 412-885-2255.
Baldwin Library, this is Angela speaking.
Hi, Angela. My name is Becky. I was wondering if you could find me any books about fairies.
Sure, we can absolutely find you some books about fairies. I just need your library card number.
Okay. It is 2111100867539.
Okay, perfect. Then we will find some books and we'll call you whenever we're ready.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
I got the call that my books are in.
Hi, how can I help you?
Hi there. My name is Becky, and I have some books on hold. So can you get them for me?
Sure. Do you have your library card?
Sure.
It looks like your books are ready. I will grab them for you.
Great. Thank you. It's always exciting to pick up your books at the library. Oh, those look fantastic.
Yeah, this is really exciting. All right.
Thank you. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And these are going to be due back on August 24th.
Okay. I can't wait to go look into these. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
Let's get back and read these. I'm so glad the library was able to find some excellent books on fairies. I want to share a few of those with you right now. We got 2 books from the world-renowned fairy researcher Cecilia Mary Barker. One is an introduction of the garden of the flower fairies, a beautiful introduction to some of her favorite fairies. Another one is how to find flower fairies. I think this will be an excellent resource as we discover more about who might be living in our garden. We also got a fairy house handbook, and this is a great resource if anyone is wanting to make fairy houses on their own. And the last book that they got for me is called Good Night Fairies, and this is a cute little story time book that we'll read together right before we go to bed. I want to start by showing you this beautiful book by Cicely Mary Barker, How to Find Flower Fairies. It has some great examples of different places we can find fairies. Look at this. Oh my goodness. The forest floor. How beautiful. Some fairies prefer the security of being on the ground. And it is here at the foot of the ancient oak that I have discovered another favorite dwelling place, the forest floor. Fairy homes. Folklore states that fairies always keep their homes in excellent order. Neat and tidy fairies. I can imagine my little fairy friends sweeping up with a twig or a catkin for a broom. Wasn't there a broom in the garden we found by the library? Oh, wow. We peek in all these little holes. Oh my goodness. In this one, there's little fairy slippers drying. There's a fairy in here swinging. This is just such a beautiful book. What an amazing piece of art. Wow. In the garden, flower beds are a perfumed paradise for fairies that desire beauty above all else. Every flower has its own fairy to care for it, which explains why most of my own fairy encounters have taken place in the garden. Maybe we have flower fairies here. Flower fairies wear outfits made from fallen petals. By dressing to look like the flowers that surround them, the fairies may flutter by unseen. They're very camouflaged. Ooh, it says here, in the summer days, some fairies hang their washing clothes out to dry on the webs of friendly spiders. Can we look and find any? Oh my goodness, here's some. See the spider web? There's some fairy clothes hanging on here. And this cute fairy sleeping right here. Oh, there's just so many fairies looking just like the flowers. Orange fairy over here. Just so beautiful. Let's see what's next. Wow. By the wayside. The hedgerows, commonly situated by the waysides, are very safe places for fairies to live. Their thick, dense greenery contains many plants and hidey holes to find secret places. Many hedgerows are hundreds of years old and contains large communities of fairies. But as always, they will do their very best to hide from you. Ooh, fairies love to hold feasts and banquets. Do you remember the little picnic area we thought we might have found in the garden? Look here. It shows them having a little picnic right here on little stools, so similar to what we saw in our garden. Fascinating. Oh, it's beautiful. Here's one more. The marsh. Past expeditions have led to my discovery that the misty world of the marshlands is the most revered location in the fairy kingdom. Ooh, this is where they really want to be. Fairies that live here wish to be as close as possible to their king and their queen. Few humans venture to the marshland, and should you visit, great care must be taken here. But the rewards may be plenty, especially if you are lucky enough to happen upon the fairy king and queen themselves. Oh, inside I can see so many fairies, and there's the king and queen inside the marsh house. Oh, so beautiful. This is definitely a book worth seeing for everyone who is interested in fairies. So beautiful. let's meet a few of the fairies that Cicely Mary Barker has described. This is my garden of flower fairies. What do you think you would do if you were a fairy? How would you spend your day? Oh, here's a fairy named Periwinkle. Under trees and in the shady places in the garden, Periwinkle spreads his little blue flowers and dark green leaves. When Periwinkle is feeling mischievous, he uses the prickly edge around his leaves to tickle the other fairies' feet. Oh my goodness, look at him tickling the feet. Pansy almost loses her grip as Periwinkle tickles her toes. Whee! Spindleberry holds on tight. But Periwinkle has a more serious job in the garden. He makes tough string from the stalks of his plants. The fairies use the string for many things, but what they like to use the string for most is swinging from plant to plant. Oh, that would be so fun. But do you remember in the little village that we found, I think there was some string holding together some of the houses. I wonder if a fairy like Periwinkle made it. Look at this, it's called Sweet Pea. Here's Sweet Pea right here. All the fairy babies in the garden love Sweet Pea, especially the girls. Sweet Pea has a fabulous collection of outfits that she likes to dress the babies up in, just as if they were dolls. Sweet Pea Fairy has a little sister whom she spoils with all of her best dressing up clothes. When little Sweet Pea grows up, she will be the most fashionable fairy around. That would be fun to have all those dress-up clothes made from plants, from the leaves and the petals. How beautiful. Heather. Heather is a fairy who loves to run around, dropping seeds everywhere. She is one of the most active fairies in the garden and doesn't like to sit still for very long. Wow, Heather sounds like my children if they were fairies. When she is sitting quietly, Heather uses the springy leaves from her plant to make soft beds for the baby fairies, and her stalks make perfect brooms for cleaning. Oh, there's a little baby. Oh, so cute. Let's see one more. Honeysuckle. Of all the flower fairies, Honeysuckle climbs the best. He can scramble up walls, trees, and even hedges. As he climbs, Honeysuckle pulls the leafy tendrils of his plant with him. In the evening, Honeysuckle climbs up to the very top of the plant, plucks one of the blossoms, and he blows into the flower as hard as he can to spread his honeysuckle scent into the night sky. Night moths are attracted to the smell and come from far and wide to drink the sweet honeysuckle nectar. Wow, so many different fairies, all with such important jobs. How fascinating! We got such great information from our library books. I can't wait to go back to the garden and look for more fairies. But now we're going to go back to Miss Angela at Imagination Station.
And there you have it firsthand. We need your help to make these fairies feel welcome. Just have your grown-up click the link on our Facebook post for instructions on building houses for these mythical beings. Post your pictures below of the houses you created in the comments, and we'll feature them on our Baldwin Kids and Teens Facebook page.
I wanted to share one more book with you about fairies. This one is Good Night Fairies, and it's by Kathleen Haig and illustrated by Michael Haig. It's time for bed, said Mother. I was wondering, said the child. About what? Said Mother. Fairies. Oh, hop into bed, said Mother, as she turned off the light, and I will tell you what I know about fairies. What do the fairies do when it's nighttime? Asked the child. Well, the fairies hang the stars in the evening sky, so every child will have a nightlight. Why? Asked the child. Because fairies love little children like you. Of all the world's creatures, there is nothing so like a fairy as a child.
Do fairies have toys? Asked the child. Fairies don't have toys of their own, but they gather and care for all of the lost toys children have lost. Aw, that's nice. So that teddy bear's getting loved. Aw. Do fairies ever sleep? Asked the child. On leafy beds in secret gardens. I see them all curled up in the garden. Please tell me of all the things the fairies do. Oh, it would take days and nights to tell you all about fairies, said Mother, but if you will close your eyes, I'll tell you some of the very special things that they do. Thank you, and the child snuggled into the soft blankets. Mother started. When the little animals are sleepy, it's the fairies who read bedtime stories to them. Other fairies paint the wings of tiny bugs and make the butterflies beautiful. There are fairies who teach the birds to sing and the unicorns to fly. It is the fairies who comb the mermaid's hair and draw the rainbows to brighten the rainy days. It is the fairies who scatter the autumn winds and paint the winter forest white. Fairies make the spring flowers bloom. In the warm summer nights, they dress in spider's lace and dance to the twilight orchestra. I think that's what they'd be doing now. And when little ones close their eyes and go to sleep, it is the fairies who welcome them to dreamland. Good night, whispered Mother, but the child was already fast asleep. If you were a fairy, what job would you have? I think I would want to paint the wings of the butterflies. I have a really special love for butterflies, and that would be amazing to be able to fly with them. Well, thanks for joining in with us today. I'm glad we got to see this special footage from the garden. That's pretty special. When you come to the library, maybe you'll see our fairy village as well. Thanks for joining us. Bye.